What's going on, Mountaineer Nation? Welcome into episode 227 of the CRW podcast. And it's that time. It's Brawl Week. That's right. We're here to preview and make our predictions for the Backyard Brawl. It's Pitt Hate Week. We're all here. All three of us hate Pitt. You watching, you hate Pitt. You listening, you hate Pitt. We all hate Pitt. And we're here to talk about the matchup with the Panthers here in week 3 of the 2025 season of the Rich Rod 2.0 era. West Virginia looking for a bounce back coming into the game at 1-1. Pitt coming in at 2-0 for the 108th Backyard Brawl that'll be televised on ESPN at 3:30 on 9/13. Of course, that's very fitting as we get into this game. And of course, with me to help me discuss it all, got my two great co-hosts. We've got Steven
What's going on, everybody?
and Brad.
Eat shit, Pitt.
Hey, that's right, baby.
The
It's that
Steven
week.
shirt says it all. But yeah, dude, it's Pitt hate week. You got to say it. And screw what else is going on. They can always eat a big bowl of Dookie.
Yep.
That's right. That's right. You can say that one again. You can say that one again for sure. And we're ready for it. We're ready for it. Long awaited. I mean, super highly anticipated. We knew that this weekend was coming. We all had it circled on the calendar. The date, we've talked about it throughout the offseason, how much it was fate that, it's 9/13 in Rich
Yeah.
Rod's first year back here to play this rivalry. A lot of interesting storylines heading into it. I think, now the only downside is maybe we've lost a little bit of momentum heading into the game. I know a lot of our fans aren't as excited about it as they once were, about a week or so ago. But how are you guys feeling before we get into breaking down the matchup in general here on both sides of the ball? Just kind of opening thoughts here, heading into 108th Backyard Brawl, all the storylines involved, Rich Rod coming back, the game on 9/13, just everything you can talk about there. It's finally about to be here. How are you feeling about this game, Steven?
Uh, at the moment, indifferent. I've been really, all the way leading up into the off season and everything, all the storylines that are all well known. Feeling very, very excited about it, and then Saturday happened, and we obviously lost the game. But then finding out the official word this morning that we lose not only Jaheim, but we lose Jaden Bray as well, who I thought was going to be a really explosive option and was showing that he could be an explosive option.
Yeah.
Um, for the team this year. So losing both of those truly, massive, massive blows to the team. Especially, no slight to Jaden at all. Because I just spoke about his explosiveness potentially, but losing Jaheim is the most massive blow that I think the team could have suffered. And that's again not to slight any of the running backs that are about to have to step up. But I don't think any of them will deny how explosive of an option Jaheim White is, and how big of a blow that is to lose him, and how emotional it is all the way around, just all the aspects of it. So all of those factors, I don't know. I'm still excited for the game. I'm always excited for this game, but I don't know. I really don't know what to expect. I've got to see a lot of different things than what I seen last Saturday, and I think we will. I do think that we'll see a lot of things corrected that we can correct. But my worry is along that offensive line mainly, and how much can you correct that? Not only from game to game, but from the length of the entire season. So that unfortunately for me, I really don't know where we sit on the win column right now, and what I feel like predicting for the rest of the year. Because it's going to fluctuate. Teams are dynamic. Teams do get better throughout the year. Even though I'm just over here being Mr. Negative and downtrodden about every damn thing. But I don't know. They've got to show me a lot. They got to show me a lot.
Yeah. I think that, a lot of Mountaineer Nation's right there with you. That's one of the things I talked about in the Ohio review episode was kind of tempering expectations with some stuff that we learned, coming out of that game. And of course, the injuries that we're now dealing with, as you mentioned there, which you hate to have to deal with that, especially at this time heading into this game. But I think, the other side of that coin is, like you said, this team's only going to improve as the season goes along. And if they're going to get up for any game and, put on their best performance yet, what better one to do it for than this one here for the Backyard Brawl. So that's what we're all hoping to see, is this team really come together for this one, know how much it means, and maybe see some things out of them that we haven't seen yet. But we definitely need to see those improvements, especially on the offensive line in this game, as you mentioned, Stephen, for sure. But I'm hoping the fans are there and the fans are behind us as well, and the atmosphere is still as raucous as it could have been if we were coming into this thing at 2-0. But we'll wait and see how that pans out. But Brad, how about you? What are your opening thoughts here? 108th Backyard Brawl on the horizon. The Pitt Panthers coming into town on 9/13. How are you feeling about this one?
Yeah, it's a lot of feelings, man. You know, you talk about the story and what all this game means from, Rich Rod's last time playing, Pitt in a Mountaineer uniform was the worst night imaginable. And what in the world does that feel like, right? And so, Rich Rod getting this chance to come back and really have that opportunity to come home and, rectify some things is not a chance that he probably would have thought would have ever came. And so, walking into this game, it's the biggest game of his life, all the way up to this point. And though he doesn't want to see it that way, he can't see it that way. I guess is a better way to put it. Is in his position, he can't see it that way. But it's going to mean something extra for him. And I feel like West Virginia football played its best when we were counted out, too, as well, right? So like it's just when we're down and out, when nobody believes in us is when we can shine the brightest, and that's something I feel like we never really had under Neil Brown, because it was always just so middling, right? Like even all the way up through the end of Neil Brown's tenure, people were still going to the games, right? But people already have a sour taste against Rich Rod, so it's not going to take much for them to just be like, oh, exactly, this is what it is, right? And so walking into this game, it's got to be feeling like it's the biggest game of his career. Like it's a must-win. You're at home. This might be your last chance, right? So get it right. And you're walking into it without your star running back, without some real strong pieces, But the mentality that Rich Rod's always had and what he prides himself on is that doesn't matter, right? Like it's going to be next man up. It's the team. We've got the pieces here to win, and he's going to do whatever it takes. You're not going to feel how you will about Rich Rod. You're not going to knock him out, right? Like you're not going to put him out of what he's doing, and he's going to stay focused on the mission. So it's absolutely huge, and it's crazy. All the storylines to it. It sucks not getting game day, which would have happened if we hadn't lost to Ohio. And now I'm a lot more questioning than what I was preseason roundtable, right? Like talking about walking into Pitt feeling great. But hey, there's some unknowns there. Why not? They don't know what to expect either at this point. That's the best part about questions is not everybody has the answers. So it's going to be fun to watch. And like I said, I think people will show up. I think people will be there. I think that's too much of an important game for it not to be, right? It's still going to be center of our universes for sure.
Yeah.
So
I agree. And I think, that's a great point to make there is something we'll keep an eye on and hope that it still turns out that way. Because I think, about a week or so ago, we were talking about this being, a top 5 atmosphere all time, because we were expecting to be 2-0. Pitt's going to be 2-0. Of course, they held up their end of that bargain. We did not, as we know. And that's why College Game Day is not coming. Still, jury's still out. We'll see if the Pat McAfee show still comes. I would hope that it still would. Maybe that'll help things a little bit. But even without that, I guess that's my next question is, we talked a little bit about the fans showing up there, but as far as this atmosphere is concerned, Stephen, do you think this is still has the potential to be, one of the higher rated atmospheres in recent years? Or do you think that loss last week really put, kind of a dampener on things, and now we're not really going to see that same type of atmosphere as we would have seen if, we were both coming in this game at 2-0 with potential of, College Game Day being here? What are your thoughts on the atmosphere for this game on Saturday? What are you expecting to see?
Oh no, I definitely still. It's going to be bumping. It's going to be absolutely raucous. I still think people are going to show up. I know Mountaineer Nation is upset, and rightfully so. I mean, they deserve to be with the performance that we had offensively, at least on Saturday. But in the same light, West Virginia fans have they're loyal. They're going to show up. Brad was just talking about how they even showed up through the Neil Brown era, and I mean,
but I will
it's
also
not.
say we are a quick fan base to boo you.
I mean, and absolutely. I mean, that's
getting
honestly from what I've been noticing.
that
That's
might show
every
up for
fan
it.
base that I see.
Yeah.
I mean, that
Yeah.
doesn't. If,
But
and
Neil
especially
Brown
now,
always said he would never take criticism from somebody he wouldn't take advice from, and it's just is Rich Rod going to still have that same tone when things start really going south?
Yeah. But especially now because you have like donor dollars and not just donor dollars, but essentially every fan now is a donor. Well, not every fan, but a large majority of them with the things that they can donate to between the Country Roads Trust and the Mac Foundation and now the school can all that stuff. But
Yeah.
it complicates things, and so that makes fans have a really short leash when it comes to things, especially in a situation that you have right now when there's already tension between still some of the fans. I thought that it was a real minimal amount, but I mean the first person that I encountered whenever I got to my seat, like for the Robert Morris game, that's the first thing he mentioned. I'm like, okay, well, maybe there's more than a few out there, I guess, still left.
Yeah, a loud minority, maybe, I guess is what we could call it. But unfortunately, that volume's going to increase if things don't get turned around. And I think that this is the game that a lot of people have circled, and whatever happens the rest of the season, I think a lot of people are saying, hey, if you can find a way to win this one, we'll be all right. So it's definitely an important game, especially early in the Rich Rod 2.0 tenure. I don't want to call it a must win necessarily, but I think it'll get a lot of the fan base back on board. And,
I want to
a
call
lot of the people that you would call it a must win?
I absolutely would. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bar none. I think if you lose this game, even if you go on to win every other game of the season, which you won't if you lose this game. Sorry, that's the truth. Yeah. You ain't winning. You won't win a large majority of this fan base back, no matter what. No matter what.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a must win.
I definitely do.
Okay. All right.
But
if it wasn't Pitt, if this wasn't the Brawl, if we were say in a scenario that we had just lost, say that everything is the same, we just lost to Ohio, beat Robert Morris. But this week we're going to Kansas and we're playing out there. If we lose that game, I don't think that's a must win. I don't think so. But this one being the Backyard Brawl, the last one you're playing for years, like Brad said, potentially, hopefully not, potentially the last one that Rich Rod could coach in. Damn straight. I think very much a must win. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, we can go back to, the other storyline as well, that it's Rich Rod's first one back since the last one. We all know that day that shall not be spoke of, but the fact that this game's on 9/13 as well, I mean, that just adds into the intrigue and to the storylines, and probably makes it, like you guys are saying, maybe even a definite must win. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens, but I do think this is the game that everyone has had circled. Everyone, if there's a game that everyone wants to see us perform in, it's this one. So
yeah.
Well, I even said that in the season prediction roundtable. I said, "Is this a must?" I asked you guys that. I said, "Is this a must win without even coaching a game? Is this a must win?" And you guys said possibly so. Now I definitely.
Well, and I think my thing was I thought that we needed to start 3-0. Now that we're 1-1 going into this, I guess that I would have to say it is a must win.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Because I also remember saying that it was like, it would buy you a lot of grace. Like even if you came in here 1-1, like it was such a must win that like beating Pitt would give you a lot of freedom. And like Steven said, like if Rich Rod was to lose, it would put off a huge portion of the fan base. And I think it's just indicative of the bad things to come. And so like in order to really get anybody back excited for football, it would have to take like long consecutive winning streak all the way up deep into the season, consecutive wins. And, he might get a second season. I think he's bought himself at least 2 seasons. But you talk about sellout season tickets this year, you might be talking about record lows next year. Because you're just not going to get people up and excited. So he's going to have to fight up that hill. So
yeah. But I think, like I said, if you lose this game, I do think that he'll be here for 2 seasons because, for one, I don't think the administration could afford a buyout. But
if you go 2-10 this season, he's still here next season.
Well, I think he's still here. I think he's still here next season, regardless. I don't think that the record in administrative eyes, that the record doesn't matter. I think Ren's even talked about that because of the roster turnover and things like that. But I think in the fans' mind, the general fans' mind. I think you will lose a large, like I said, a large majority if you lose this Saturday. And I don't know, but with that being said, though, I don't want to keep being negative. With all that being said, if you win Saturday, I think that buys you some grace from the fan base.
Absolutely.
Even with
Yeah.
it being likely going to be a shaky rest of the season, with what's going to be a gauntlet of the rest of a Big 12 schedule that we got to play. And we got to do it without a clear cut running back. And I got a lot I would really want to say on that issue pertaining specifically to the quarterback that I'm sure a lot of guys and you have already talked about and thought about, but still want to talk about it with you guys at some point.
Yeah, definitely. We'll get to the discussion there of our offense versus the Pitt defense because I definitely think there's a lot to point out both with the running backs and the quarterbacks and maybe even receiver a little bit, of course, as we talked about with Jaden Bray. But, we've talked about this game from our side a little bit, how we're feeling, how we think the fan base is feeling, what it could mean. And, of course, Pitt's coming into this game 2-0, wins over Duquesne 61-9 and Central Michigan 45-17. Still Pat Narduzzi back as the head coach there for his 11th season. But, have you guys seen some of the stuff that's come out from the Pitt side of things from their press conferences this week? Did you guys see
Unfortunately,
what
yes. And I don't
Holstein
see a
had
lot
to
on
say?
social media lately because I
Hold on,
don't have the opportunity to look at
we
it.
gotta
But
address what
yeah,
Eli Holstein had to say. So I'm gonna pull it up on the screen and I'll read through it for you guys listening on the
beer
audio
and
side. But
batteries.
this is what Eli Holstein had to say. This is the kind of crap that Pat Narduzzi, and yes, I said Narduzzi on purpose because that's what I call the man because that's who he is and how he acts. So this is the kind of stuff that he's been feeding their fan base. And we know the last time they were in Morgantown, they came off the bus in full pads and helmets. They'll probably do that again, considering they're feeding players stuff like this. This is Pitt quarterback Eli Holstein, what he had to say about the environment in Morgantown. It's a hectic environment. It's going to be a lot of fun. They say it's crazy. There's going to be little kids flipping me off. I'm going to get batteries and beer thrown at me on the sidelines, all types of stuff like that. But I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to feeding off that energy. I think our team has the mindset to feed off that energy, feed off the hate and pure venom and poison from them. Really looking forward to it and can't wait to do it. Now I ask you guys, been going to games for many years. How many times have you seen an opposing player get hit with a battery and or a beer?
No batteries. I have seen beer. I'm not gonna lie to you. I have. I've seen it
Yeah,
twice.
maybe an occasional beer gets thrown out there, but I mean, this guy's talking like people were chucking glass bottles at his head on the sideline and batteries and stuff. Man, that
Oh no,
hadn't happened in 40, 50 years.
no. I just mean like the general like people getting a scrum and beer goes flying.
Oh yeah, for sure. You'll see that, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe little
Like I
kids
mean
will flip
over
you off
18.
though. I don't
Well,
know
I
about
mean,
that
hold
one.
on. Over. I really don't want to say that. That's gonna date me so much. Over 22 years of games going. You see a lot. You see a lot. I've seen a lot of fights. I've seen a lot of college kids being carried out because they're way too drunk and most likely got alcohol poisoning. Because Cruz knows where I sit. Well, Brad, you know where I
Yeah,
sit up there in the upper deck.
right. Student
It's
section,
right there
baby.
beside the student section. I've watched many of students be taken from that top row because they have to take them over the fence and then take them down because there's so many people in the student
Mm-hmm.
section.
Yep.
Yeah, that's rough. It's rough.
Indeed.
I'm like,
Indeed.
they all got to learn the hard way. You know?
Morgantown always wins, man.
Anyway, I
Morgantown
digress.
always wins.
What was this? What do we start on? What was this?
We're talking about
Batteries
Eli
and
Holstein, talking
Batteries.
about
beer
throwing
bottles.
batteries and little
Yeah,
kids
never seen a
flipping them
battery
off.
thrown.
And
A little kid might
yeah,
flip him off now because if
that's the one part
I'll
that
tell
might
you
be
what,
accurate.
if I'm a person bringing my kid to this game, I'm be like, yo, it's all right, just for today.
Yeah.
Just
I
that
mean,
guy, not any of the rest of them.
yeah.
Just
When
that.
you're in the stadium, you can say eat shit Pitt, When not in the stadium, it's a different story, but that's
My
the way I
papa was a
teach my kids
preacher, and he let
anyways,
me say it when I was growing up. That's the only time I was allowed to say. I couldn't even say God. I had to say gosh around them, or I get my mouth popped, or I get the
but you could
switch.
say eat shit Pitt
And
at
I
the
asked him
game.
at a game. I said, "Could I say?" He was like, "Yeah."
It's like, all right.
First
That's right.
warning.
That's right. Teach him young. Teach him young. But I don't know, man. That just
Yeah.
rubbed me the wrong way yet again.
mean,
Just some complete BS from Holstein and Narducci doing his usual thing, trying to get us riled up as a fan base. And I guess it worked because it got under my skin.
Yeah.
But Brad, any thoughts there on kind of the way Narducci speaks to this environment in Morgantown, and of course feeding it to his quarterback now?
I will say that I often encourage good sportsmanship, even like to people of opposite teams that are there, showing them, good hospitality. That's my whole world. You should make people feel welcome. But I've never felt that way about Pitt fans.
Yeah.
It's just never been there. So I encourage Mountaineer Nation to be, good, upstanding
Rude as
people,
hell.
but you can be rude to Pitt fans.
Yeah,
I don't care. I'm gonna say it like it is. I've talked about it with BYU fans, how respectful and nice that they are, and I'll call it how I see them. If your fan base as a general, like what we see when you come to our stadium, or me and Cruz have been to a few away stadiums, what we see when we go to yours, it really says a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been around their fans a lot, and I know there's a rivalry, but we got rivalries with a few people that I've been to games to. Don't nobody act like that. Like, they can say all they want about, like, Narducci made this comment a few months ago about how West Virginia fans take it too far. We just take it too far. It's a little classless. Like he's holier than thou and all innocent because we say eat shit Pitt. I say proud.
I want my head coach to literally, like, nothing would get me more excited for this game than if my head coach walked out and just like punched Narducci in the
smack
mouth.
Narduzzi right.
Just like get ejected, just get straight up thrown out of the game.
To the point,
no one deserves a smack in the mouth more than that guy.
But the point I'm trying to make is he'll say that's classless, and then let Slovic, what is it, whatever his name was, sucked. Yeah, ass. Yeah, came out there and was like, F West Virginia, saying it twice and all that.
Yeah,
that's not classless. Fine. That's completely fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. But
come on.
We can't say eat shit Pitt though. And then he makes these comments this week. What did he say? He said something too this week.
I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, he said that. That's what he said. He said that West Virginia, their administration has tried to contact West Virginia, and that we're ducking them, and they're afraid to play them.
He's so full of shit.
I'm like, all right, dog. Okay, yeah, that's all we've talked about is trying to keep this rivalry going, but we're ducking you guys. Makes sense.
Ridiculous. Right. Well, so last time they came here, he said, it was like he equated it to a zoo or something. So he's always going to say something to try and get us riled up and everything, and that's fine. It is what it is because we'll be ready. We'll be ready on Saturday. He'll hear it from the fan base. So that's all that matters. Because guess what? We don't like them. They don't like us, and that's never going to change. That's just the facts.
Well, the point I was going to make earlier was like, it's one thing to have a rivalry, but Cruz can attest to this. I mean, they were the whole way down that turnstile when we were in Pittsburgh, when we lost 4 years ago.
Yeah, 22.
The first one of the iteration back. Yeah. The whole way down. College students in my papa's face, who's then 78, 79.
Yeah. It's everything in you to not,
and just like
fight at that point.
Take your old ass back down 79. The hillbilly, that's what they called, not redneck. They called him a hillbilly.
Yep, I was there.
And shit like that, I'm like, the first thing that we seen when we got there was a person walking by us, and they got 10 feet past us. They seen us the whole way walking up, and then they got 10 feet past us and was like, West Virginia. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah.
I'm like,
I remember that.
We'll say it to our face. I mean, it's cool to like have banner back and forth. But
see, I feel like when I was at Pitt, I just called out every Mountaineer I saw. I was just like, forget everybody else around me. Like, oh, let's go Mountaineers.
That's the way to do it.
You know what's funny?
But not about this.
This is what I've always thought's funny. So you go to Pittsburgh, right? Big town. You got PNC Park where the Pittsburgh Pirates play. If you go on the side of that building, me and Cruz have been there. There's a room on the side of the building, if you're walking on the sidewalk, that has a West Virginia logo that is specifically for West Virginia alumni. And the entire suite is all West Virginia University derivative things. I'll tell you what you won't find in Morgantown, West Virginia. Any damn thing that's got to do with Pitt.
That's right. 100%, man. 100%. 100%. There's your one right there. Put a check mark in in the West Virginia corner on that
And
one
we
for
don't got to
sure. So
borrow a stadium from anybody.
no, we got our own. We got our own. We don't play in the professional team stadium. And
Oh,
then
and
Yeah.
get
ours
mad and
we've kept it since 1980. They've
oh,
been
that's
through
like
like 5 or something like that. They've had their own. They just couldn't keep it because they couldn't keep nobody in a stadium.
that's right. They got about 5 fans that come to the games.
Yeah.
But that just reminds me, something else on Narducci there. Do you guys remember when Wes Euler, shout out to In the Gun podcast, wearing his West Virginia hat because he covers the Steelers, and Narducci literally had somebody come ask him to not wear the West Virginia
Mhm.
hat when he was in the facility.
Yeah.
Like that's how petty Narducci is right there. Just stuff like that. That's
Yeah.
how much we live rent free in that man's head right there.
Yeah.
100%.
I'm telling you, must win.
Must win.
Must
Must
win.
win. That sums it up. That sums up the opening thoughts right there. Must win. Huge game. Each hit Pitt.
Mhm.
That's where we're going to leave the opening thoughts there. Let's get into the matchups, gentlemen. Let's start it off here. Let's talk a little bit about the Pitt offense and the West Virginia defense. I think it's a key matchup in this game. I think through 2 games, Zach Alley's shown that he knows how to game plan. He knows how to have guys in the right spots. Was tackling an issue last week? Yes. Do I think it'll be improved this week? Absolutely, I do. Wasn't an issue in week 1. And I think if tackling's cleaned up, our defense could put on a good performance in this game. They'll be taking on the Pitt offense, who yet again back for a second season. They have Cade Bell as the offensive coordinator, who came over from Western Carolina. They were 15th in the nation in passing last year in his first season there at Pitt. He brings back his quarterback, Eli Holstein, who returns for his sophomore season. Thus far this year, having an even better year than he did last year, arguably. 8 TDs, 2 interceptions through 2 games, over 70% completion. And that's after tying the Pitt record for most touchdowns ever by a freshman there last season when he threw for 17. They also have, of course, senior running back Desmond Reed, who, in my opinion, is one of the best running backs in the country because he's kind of a do-it-all guy. He can hurt you running, he can hurt you receiving, as he showed last season, racking up 966 rushing yards and 579 receiving yards. So far in 2025, he's their highest graded player on offense, according to PFF, as through 2 games, he has a 79.0 offensive grade. And funny enough, he came from Western Carolina with offensive coordinator Cade Bell last season, but he wasn't the only one. Also coming from Western Carolina, so you got guys that Cade Bell's familiar with, is wide receiver Raphael Williams, who will be kind of more of their slot guy, but he's really come into his own this season thus far in 2025, as in their last game, he had 6 catches, 121 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He'll be their main go-to receiver along with Kenny Johnson. So those are some of the names to watch out for on this Pitt offense under Cade Bell. And the one thing that we know as well is that they will run an up-tempo style. You look at both West Virginia and Pitt, both offenses are 2 of the faster-paced offenses in the country. I think that West Virginia is 133rd in the nation in time of possession and Pitt's 131. So both these teams are going to try and get snaps off and run plays off. I think when you look at the West Virginia defense, the silver lining there is they go up against an offense that tries to do that all the time with the up-tempo style and the spot-the-ball style that the Rich Rod offense runs. So it'll be an interesting matchup here. I think that this is one that we definitely have to be a major key in this game. We need our defense to show up yet again. As we found out early in the season, they may have to carry us a little bit until our offense works its way into form. A lot of interesting angles to look at for this one. Our D-line versus their O-line. Can our linebackers get pressure and get the quarterback down this time, as they struggled to do that last week against Parker Navarro? Holstein hurt us with his legs a little bit last season. Can we alleviate that this year and not let that happen? How are you feeling about this matchup, the West Virginia defense versus the Pitt offense? What's your thoughts here, Stephen?
I don't know. I'm not so confident as you are that the tackling issue is going to be fixed this week. Because for one, I think that I forget who it was that Robert Morse played this past week, but I looked at the score, and the box score definitely indicated they got absolutely dog walked. I mean, it was 53 points they gave up by halftime, and the team that they played was a group of 5, if I remember correctly. So that one, that win, and specifically how the defense played, and how well we talked about the tackling that they did in that game is looking less impressive. So I hope that it gets fixed. I don't know that it'll get fixed. I think that I'm going to have to see a little bit more out of the defensive line, which is something that I really kind of was confident in, especially coming out of week 1 from what we've seen. But from what we've seen this past Saturday, it was not pretty at all. So they're definitely going to have to get a little bit more of a push. And with the way the Pitt's offensive line, I hate to say that, but the way that they've been playing, they've been stout through 2 games. Now, with that said, I do think that they've given up a little bit of pressure. Duquesne especially, there was 2 and 3 guys that would leak through, especially in the first half of that game, quite a few times. So Eli Holstein was getting rattled there for a little while, and that score got away from them mostly in the late in the third and into the fourth quarter. So they're susceptible to getting pressure through that offensive line. It'll just be depending on how good West Virginia can do of getting through there. I think it'll really depend on how good that linebacking core and Fred Perry can get around that edge. Is Jamori playing this Saturday? I know we got good word on it, but
That's one thing I'm waiting to see. It's like sounds like he's cleared, but then Rich Rod was asked about
okay.
it in his press conference and said he doesn't know for sure about this weekend. Now, is that just him playing coy and they're going to try
Right.
and surprise Pitt with him? I don't know. But
Okay.
if he's cleared, I'd be surprised if he doesn't go. But that's just my
Okay.
opinion.
That's what I thought. That's where we still stood, but I didn't know if there was any news that had came out on it. But I think a large part of my confidence lies on that happening. But even with that happening, where's Jamori at in terms of playbook knowledge, scheme knowledge? Not to say that talent isn't there. That's obviously not going to subside, but there's a whole lot of things that go into it. Now, him playing an edge rusher position, I think that's one of the positions you can come in and dominate really quickly with
You
with
just
all
throw them
said,
in there
but
and say, pin your earbacks.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I hate to be like that. I know that's kind of a generic answer to be in wait and see mode, but I mean, there's so many question marks right now. There's so much diversity between the first 2 games that we've played, and with Ohio being they are Group of 5. I think I got a potential to be a playoff team. I think they're this year's Boise State potentially with how good they are. Parker Navarro is elite. Their defense showed me way more than they did against Rutgers in week 1. Made really sound tackles. With that said, I think West Virginia's offense played atrocious Saturday. I think with everything that has been said about Nico, that I've said about Nico, all of the things about him being a lead, he makes great throws, makes great decisions. I seen none of that Saturday. Not to get sidetracked on the offense, but I don't know, that's been really tough to see is how the fan base turned on Nico after 1 game. I've never seen Nico really make a bad pass prior to this past Saturday, and now he has 1 full bad game, and I don't know. That's one thing I disagree with. Well, anyway, we'll get on offense in a minute. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. It's definitely been surprising the way that that's changed, but I do think you make a great point there when you're talking about the defense versus the Pitt offense. Is that pass rush is going to have to be a key, and of course Jamori, if we do get a chance to get him back, you got to at least hope that he comes in on some obvious passing situations, and like Brad said, maybe can pin his ears back and make a difference. Because I think when I look at this matchup, that's what I'm looking at. It's the 2 things that West Virginia needs in this game are that pass rush to be solid and the secondary to hold up, because the secondary is really going to be tested on Saturday against this Pitt offense that likes to throw the ball down the field. They will attack you downfield, and our secondary is going to be tested. And of course, we don't want them to have to hold up for too long in any given place. We want our pass rush to be there as well. So I think those are 2 major things for the West Virginia defense that you need to keep an eye on in this game against Pitt, in my opinion. So great points there, Stephen. But Brad, what about you? How are you feeling about this side of the ball? Zach Alley's defense going up against Cade Bell's offense there at Pitt.
I'm pretty excited. I mean, the defense has definitely played well enough to, win games. And I do agree with you guys that this is probably the first time that they're really going to be. Navarro's really good. I mean, Ohio's offense, looked like it had some things going. Granted, he had 3 interceptions, back to back to back. But even with how good they were looking, we still held them to 17 points. And this is just going to be just as good, if not better, of an offense.
Yep.
And so it's exciting to see what Zach Alley's defense is going to do against that, because I think our defense looks really, really good. And you're talking about adding a piece like Jamori, perhaps, that's just going to take an element of our game to the next level, because you have good-looking stats here. I mean, you got 3 sacks, say, between your linebackers, which have really just kind of stood out so far this year. Which, have we heard about Chase Wilson? I know he was also hurt.
I think he's all right. Reed
Reed
Carrico is the
Carrico.
one that they're still waiting on. I think
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, I
a
knew
day to
Reed,
day,
but
so
I thought
haven't
Chase
ruled him
Wilson
out,
also
but
went
we'll
out at
see.
one point in time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely sounds like we'll have Chase Wilson. Hopefully, we'll have Carrico as well. But
Yeah,
we
but
definitely
yeah,
need
but like
if we could have both, that'd be great.
for sure. You look like a Fred Perry. The dude was a dominant dog, dude, just straight up manhandling it, making things happen. But you're talking about a team where we're probably going to have to drop back and protect the pass a little bit more now. And so some of those players that are getting, 1 sack, 2 sacks with Chase Wilson, it's those pieces now are not going to be coming as much because you've got to step back and try to cover the pass a little bit better. That's where someone like Jamori Robinson would really shine. Where Hammond Russell had a really solid game against Robert Morrison. He kind of got focused on and shut down against Ohio. So maybe somebody get sprung back open because there's more attention. So I think this is going to be the funnest aspect. And you just look at Zach Alley and you say, hey, 3 turnovers. You've been kind of getting close to it, if not hitting it. Can you keep that going? Right? Can you continuously play to just keep us in the game and keep us around? And this is going to be the game that probably tells us that. If you really want to look and see what the rest of the season is going to look like, this game's going to tell you.
That's a great point. Always a good barometer. This game is, and we're going to keep an eye on those matchups on that side of the ball when Pitt has the ball, because I think it's definitely vital that West Virginia's defense shows up and plays well in this game. Like we've seen through the first 2 games of the season, there's times they've had to carry us this season. Pretty much the entire game. Last game tried to carry us to victory, but the offense couldn't hold up their end of the bargain. So we know we have to have some improvements from the West Virginia offense in this football game for sure if West Virginia wants to come out on top in this backyard brawl. So let's talk a little bit about that now. Let's talk about that Mountaineer offense going up against that Pitt defense, which yet again is led by defensive coordinator Randy Bates, now in his 7th year there at Pitt, where they've had success pressuring the passer, had good success with run defenses as well. As a matter of fact, over Randy Bates' first 6 seasons there at Pitt, they have 270 sacks, which ranks number 1 in the nation during that time span. They were 15th in the nation in total defense last year and 6th in the nation in rush defense thus far this year through 2 games. They feature talented and experienced returning players. A lot of those at the linebacker spots. When you look at a guy like Rasheem Biles, 6 sacks, an interception, and 9 passes defended last year. He's actually one of their highest graded run defenders this year with an 85 run defense grade, according to PFF thus far this season, which is very good. They also have Braylon Lovelace at the linebacker position, who had 4 sacks and interception last year. But the piece de la resistance of their defense is Kyle Lewis. This guy's all over the field, and even though he's a Pitt Panther, I hate to say it, he's one of the better defenders in all of college football, in my opinion. You're talking about a guy last year that had 100 tackles, 7 sacks, and 4 interceptions. So he's definitely the guy to keep an eye on when that Pitt defense is on the field. You're going to watch Kyle Lewis flying around, and hopefully West Virginia is able to identify him, get some blockers on him, get some bodies on him, and not allow him to wreak havoc in this game. But what worries me about this matchup is just kind of what I touched on there. The strengths of the Pitt defense, rushing defense, and pass rushing. And we know that West Virginia's offensive line really struggled last week. So if they don't make major improvements this week, I'm a little bit worried about this side of the ball, especially when we talk about Jaden Bray being out, when we talk about Jaheim White being out. We need guys to step up at running back. We need guys to step up at receiver. And we'll see what happens with the quarterback position. I'm still expecting Nico to try it out there as the starter, and I'm hoping he puts on a better performance. But I would not rule out us seeing some other guys get snaps in this game at the quarterback position as well. Running backs, I think you're going to be by committee until you find a guy with a hot hand. Receiver, you're going to see Preston Fox, Justin Smith-Brown, Jeff Weimer kind of filling in there with Jaden Bray now out, and hopefully plenty of touches for Cam Vaughn, who, in my opinion, is our best player on offense, especially now with Jaheim White out. But that's just kind of my initial thoughts here on this matchup, West Virginia's offense versus Pitt's defense. We need improvements if we're going to have an advantage in this area, because on paper, it looks like Pitt's defense definitely has the big advantage, especially with how our offensive line played. But can they improve in a week's time? Can they bounce back? What are you thinking on this side of things, Stephen?
Well, I touched on it earlier. I'm going to continue on what I was saying. The whole scenario with Jaheim, I think, kind of feeds into the quarterback situation now, especially is, you really don't have, like you mentioned, you're going to have running back by committee. So you're really not going to have one set guy that can make plays for you. Traditionally, Rich Rod's offense has worked whenever you have a quarterback specifically that can make those plays for you. I've spoken very highly of Nico, um, and what I'm about to say is not from a stance of bad play from Nico. Even with what I just said earlier about how he played last Saturday, I do think that you may want to start with Jalen, even with the question marks surrounding his throwing ability. I think he provides an explosive spark in the running game that the offense more or less needs, if they're going to be successful going forward in the style of offense that Rich Rod runs. So even with a subpar O line, it's got a lot of holes in it so far. Rich Rod's offense has been proven to work when you have a quarterback that can make plays for you. Even with that being the case, I mean, funny enough, I just listened. It just came on my YouTube because I was watching an episode of listen. I can't remember what I was listening to earlier. If it was In the Gun or Three Guys, but one of the old episodes of Three Guys came on from 5 years ago when they spoke to Rich Rodriguez when he was about to take the job at Ole Miss. And funny enough, they spoke about a lot of these same scenarios then. He talked about, they asked him, what made you go with Adam Bednarik when Pat White's sitting there as a true freshman waiting, and he was like, you've seen talent out of Pat, but he wasn't ready decision making wise, and we didn't see him enough in the game. We didn't, and Adam was making those right decisions and looking good, and it just reminded me so much about the current situation that we're in. Not specifically with Jalen so much, but I'm obviously with Scotty Fox and him being such a young guy and everybody clamoring for him to get the start. Um, Not to say that that's automatically going to make Scotty Fox the next elite quarterback at WVU, but if history has proven one thing, Rich Rod is going to give people the opportunity to show that they can do these things, um, and ample opportunity to do so. I mean, it was well into the season when we played Louisville, and Pat White, lit that spark for the team. I think I was like week 7, week 8.
Yeah.
So my point to that is, ain't shit changed. You know what I mean? He's still gonna use as many guys as he possibly needs to, and he's gonna play as many pieces as he possibly needs to find whatever is gonna work. So all that's to say, we need to find a quarterback.
I'm right there with you. I agree, man. I 100% agree. And I think that's one thing that I was talking about when I was talking about this quarterback situation is it kind of stinks because to me it's a catch-22 for Rich Rod, right? Because Nico, probably the best passer, Jalen, one of the better runners, and you'd like to have somebody that can do both those things. And the guy that can probably do both of those things is Scotty Fox. But Scotty Fox is a true freshman. Do you want to trot him out for his first start in a game like this in the Backyard Brawl? And additionally, do you want to play Scotty Fox when you have an offensive line as bad as you have and risk him taking a bunch of hits and getting hurt and that, hurting his development? So it's really a catch-22 because a lot of people say, well, you're not going to be good this year. Why don't you play the true freshman and plan for the future, which is a good plan. But also, you play him now behind this offensive line. If it doesn't improve, you're going to get him beat up and it's going to hurt him for the future. So
Yeah.
that's why I think it's a really tough decision right now. And I think that's probably why you've heard Rich Rod talk about liking all of these guys, because he probably knows he's going to need to play multiple of them to kind of get his ideal scenario, because he doesn't really have anyone that's ready right now that has the skill set to be able to run and throw. Like I said, we've seen Jalen make some errant passes. We've seen Nico have feet like cinder blocks. So, either way, between those two, I think you're giving up a little something when they're on the field. So I don't know, but I'm going to be interested to see how he plays it in this game
I think
against
Nico was
Pitt.
sick Saturday also. I want to throw that out there. I
He
do,
did,
and I
yeah.
also want to say, with me, just saying that we need a quarterback change, I want to throw this out there too, that I still think that Nico is the best overall quarterback in the entire room. But the best one that fits Rich Rod's system in this specific scenario that we just got in, I don't know if that is Nico,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah. I don't know either. I hope he comes out and shows us something on Saturday if he does trot out there as a starter. But I don't know. I would expect to see at least a couple quarterbacks in this game. Maybe you get to a third one too. I don't know. But I definitely think you'll see at least a couple. And we'll be keeping an eye on who ends up getting the most snaps at running back. It'll be interesting to watch our snap counts, following this game against Pitt to see how kind of that rotation shakes out. I'd be surprised if Clay Ash trots out there first. I do think he'll play some, but I'm expecting Sincere Bowers, Ty Edwards, or Dior Hubbard to start. We'll see what happens, though, on Saturday. Brad, what about you, though, man? How are you feeling about this one? West Virginia's offense obviously needs some improvements after only scoring 10 points against Ohio if they want to come out victorious, especially against a Pitt team that, is usually really good on defense and especially hones in on run defense and pass rushing, which, a couple weak areas for West Virginia, it looks like, to this point in the season. So we're going to need to see some improvements. Do you think we'll see them on Saturday? How do you think West Virginia's offense fares against the Panthers' defense?
Yeah, well, a few things. So first, you take Nico Markiel, you put him at running back. You put Jalen Henderson at quarterback, right? You got you a 6'2", 230-pound, pretty quick moving running back now that you didn't have in the room beforehand, right? And all of a sudden he can throw. And that just solves a handful of problems, right? But no, realistically, yeah, quarterback is just up in the air. It's looking for that spark. I agree that Nico Markiel is probably the best option out there. He can definitely throw it. I'm going to put it on notice now. Breakout player, Preston Fox.
I could see it.
Yeah.
Preston Fox, comes back to football because he loves it. Big time senior, he gave it all to this program, left, came back under different head coaches from Morgantown, gets it, right? And we can go all the way back to this. It was probably Neil Brown's first recruit, probably, honestly. Remember him getting the catches in the spring game and getting Preston Fox.
Didn't make Neil Brown say wow. He was like, wow, I don't know. He can't do it against one.
True. Yeah, that was always the questions. But, he caught everything that came his way. Remember, that was the thing about Preston Fox.
Yep.
So, Nico's going to be out there. If Nico is throwing, right, he's going to have somebody out there I believe can go catch a ball. Because I think back, Preston Fox made big plays his sophomore year against Pitt.
Mm-hmm.
Right? As a sophomore or as a freshman, I think. But JT Daniels. So it's
isn't that a crazy thought?
Mm-hmm.
Preston Fox played with JT Daniels.
He's been here a minute, man.
He's been here that
crazy.
long.
Yeah, he had some magnificent catches that game. He had like one sliding catch that was like, and then they almost did the same thing. So Preston Fox, I'm predicting him. If we have a good game, I think it'll be because of that guy. I just feel good about it.
I like
it. Yeah, otherwise though, it's a big, like I said, it's a big question mark. You don't know what you're gonna get. I expect to see a lot of people play. Really, you want to see strides in the offensive line, right? Like that's really where you're looking for some improvement. But ultimately, like Steven said, I think when it comes down to this offense, I think having a mobile quarterback helps when you have a bad offensive line because you can, scramble out a little bit easier. You can get shifty with it. You can make some guys miss, which you're not getting with Nico, right? Like you know what you're getting with Nico Markiel, and that's good consistent play. But he's obviously shown pressure, or he's obviously shown some struggling when he doesn't have a good offensive line in front of him. Right, and so he did go undefeated as a Mountaineer, and I think half those starts were with Zach Frazier under center, so makes a big world of difference when you don't have that.
Not last year, but
yeah,
but the year before that, he still started a couple of games
that year,
yeah. I think
it all starts up front for sure.
So, I'm definitely excited to see some of the unknowns. I think that we've got good pieces out there. Like I thought. Clash is good. I like some of his explosive little pops. They've been a little bit north and south, but I can just see him one of those guys who's going to hit a hole and go. But there's a couple of those guys on the offense. But trying to find some skill players that can help, spread out the ball so that way the offensive line's just not getting crushed is going to be key. If they want anything to happen, I think it just makes it easier with a mobile quarterback. You can get side to side, do a bit more. So, yeah, I expect to see a few quarterbacks, but I don't know. I think starting Jalen Henderson would be interesting. I think that'd be a fun idea.
I wouldn't be adverse to it. I wouldn't be against it at all. Catch Pitt off guard a little bit, do something different than what we've done. And like we talked about with the offensive line struggles, having a mobile quarterback could help combat those a little bit. So I definitely wouldn't be against it. We'll be keeping an eye on that position for sure, and definitely the running back position as well. I think it's safe to say when we talk about the skill positions, this is a game where it's somebody step up and make some plays and earn you some more playing time throughout the season. Maybe it's Justin Smith-Brown at the wide receiver spot. Maybe it's Preston Fox, as Brad mentioned. Maybe it's Jeff Weimer. Maybe at the running back spot, it's Dior Hubbard finally. Maybe it's Sincere Bauer's time to take over. Somebody's going to have to step up in this game and make some plays. That's for sure on this offense, especially at those skill positions where we have some question marks behind what looks like a questionable O-line to this point, but let's hope they've improved over the past week. But there's a breakdown of the matchups on each side there. Of course, we'll be keeping an eye on special teams in this game as well. Do want to mention it a little bit as Desmond Reed, the Pitt running back's a really good player on special teams. Preston Fox has shown some ability as a return man for West Virginia this year, and I think overall kickoffs and place kicking has been good as well. Of course, Oliver Straw's a great punter, so we'll see what happens with the special teams. But with that being said, gentlemen, we've talked a little bit about the matchups. We've shared our thoughts on the rivalry. Now let's get down to the nitty gritty. Let's talk key to victory and score predictions. Let's start with our key to victory here. Interesting. There's a lot of different ways you could go with this one. I think there's many things that are keys for West Virginia in this game if they want to find out a way to come out on top and surprise some people. We'll see what happens. But how are you feeling about this one, Stephen? What do you think it takes to get this done? What's your key to victory in the 108th Backyard Brawl?
I think the main thing for me is how you shut down Desmond Reed. I think there's no question that he is one of the most explosive players, and maybe the most explosive running back in the entire country. So I think how well you can contain him, offense as well as on special teams, I think is going to say a lot for how well this game's going to turn out. So that's my biggest key.
Well said. He's definitely dynamic. He's a touchdown waiting to happen anytime he gets the ball in his hands. So containing him, definitely a major key in this game. I'll go ahead and follow you up because I think I've teased mine up a little bit here throughout the episode. For me, our O-line has to hold their own. That's the key to victory for me in this one is our O-line holding their own. I talked about a little bit there with the matchups, but Pitt's defense, what do they like to do? They like to stop the run.
Eat shit.
They like to press the passer, pressure the passer. They do like to do that as well. But I think that definitely, this is a game where we have to see how much can our O-line improve in a week. Now, are we going to see some new faces? Is there going to be some other guys rotating in? That much, I don't know. We'll wait and see on that. But whatever it takes, I don't care if it's new faces or if it's guys just performing better, performing harder, straining a little bit more because it's a rivalry. Whatever you have to do, you have to get it done to win some of your one-on-ones, to get the little bit of push that we need to be able to convert in short yardage situations, to give Nico a little bit of time back there. Because we saw when he does have time, he can hit some passes. We saw deep balls to Cam Vaughn. We saw a deep ball to Jaden Bray. When the protection was there, when the protection's there, he can make something happen. He throws a pretty deep ball. He throws a pretty pass. It's just, can the O-line give him the time that he needs? And can the O-line help these new running backs that are getting acclimated now with Jaheim White out? O-line to me is the key in this game. How much have they improved in a week? Can they hold their own against this Pitt defense? That's my key to victory. Brad, we'll round it out with you. What's your key in this one?
I just want to follow up on yours a little bit. Who can step in and probably has the most chemistry with Nico Markhill out of all the wide receivers? Probably Preston Fox, man. They're probably on that second team offense a lot. I'm just saying. I think it's a connection waiting to happen.
That's a good point.
My keys to victory, and I feel like I did this a lot with the previous coaching staff, but keep consistent here. My key to victory is just Rodriguez, man. It's going to come down to you. It's going to come down to getting your guys up and wanting it more. You've got people turning their backs on you. You've got people saying you can't. When you have to, you must. And you got to get that edge real freaking hard. You got to get that piss up to a roiling boil.
Oh, yeah.
And you got to spot the damn ball, Rich. And you got to tell your guys that this is a game you can't lose because this is an absolute must-win. And if you can get the guys on board with that, there's no reason we can't win this game. So, Rich Rod, it's on you. If you want to win this game, you can.
Indeed. And although it wasn't my key, I will say we definitely need to play a little bit cleaner as well. That's one thing I wanted to highlight because it was between that and offensive line for my key.
I want to play as dirty as we possibly can. I want somebody taking some head off.
Well, in that aspect, I mean, in the rivalry aspect, I'm talking just penalties, man, because right now we're, I think, 122nd out of 136 teams in penalty yardage. We have like 77 yards in penalties already through 2 games. So definitely something we got to clean up there. We cleaned up the turnovers in game 2. Let's clean up the penalties in game 3. No turnovers, no penalties, and we'll be sitting pretty, I think, in this one. But let's find out how pretty we'll be sitting, gentlemen. It's that time. I know it's been crazy week. It's been hectic. We're coming into this with a little bit of wind out of our sails, unfortunately, after the loss to Ohio. But the best thing about this game is that it's a rivalry game. And in a rivalry game, the best team on paper doesn't always win. The team that people expect to win doesn't always win. Sometimes the team comes out of nowhere and pulls off a crazy win. And funny enough, that's what happened the last time Rich Rod was coaching in this game. But can we flip the script and be that team this time? Everyone's counting us out, even our own fan base. I can't count how many comments I've had, since the game on YouTube and on social media. We don't stand a chance. We're going to get killed. All of that. So let's come out. Let's surprise some people. Let's do it. Let's do it in this ball game here against Pitt. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen in the Backyard Brawl when we catch some people off and keep this thing close. The line continues to move in Pitt's favor. At the time of our recording, Pitt's favored by 7. We'll see where that line ends up once we get to game day. But how are we feeling about it, gentlemen? On 9/13, Rich Rod's back. It's the Backyard Brawl. We deserve some revenge in the 108th Backyard Brawl, but are we going to get it? That's the question. Steven, let me know. What's your prediction?
I don't know, man. If Jaheim was back, like I said, I would feel a whole lot better about this game. And I swore to myself that I would never pick West Virginia to lose in this game. And I'm never going to. Ever. West Virginia, 99-0. They win on a block punt.
99-0 on the blocked
Eat
punt.
shit, Pitt.
We do.
There's no way in hell West Virginia loses this game.
Yeah.
I said it earlier. This is a must-win for Rich Rodriguez, and you'll be damned. You're gonna catch me dead in the grave before I pick Pitt. Okay, and even
can't do it.
I'll probably be sitting there singing my praises about how Pitt eats shit.
As you should. Hey, I do
Steven's
like
coming
the
with
blocked punt prediction. We do owe them one after they blocked.
I got a pack of
last year,
triple
so
A's
we
in my
did.
bag that I'm taking to the game.
Hey, Pat Norduzzi.
Eli better
Pat
hope I don't get
Norduzzi-
anywhere near the tunnel that they run out of.
I was
I'll
about
tell
to
you
say,
what. 'Cause
Pat
I got.
Narduzzi and Eli Holstein, be ready. My man's got a pocket full of Duracells.
I'll bring the little
For
boy. I'll
legalities,
bring
we're
the niece.
joking.
I'll
This
bring
is a
every
joke.
kid that I
These are
possibly
all
fucking
just
know,
joking.
and I'll have all of them line up along the whole tunnel, just flipping in the bird, throwing
For
batteries.
legal
and stuff.
reasons, none of this is true. It's all just
It's all
Just
satire. It's all
satire.
satirical. It's
It's
satirical
all for
on
a
this
big
podcast.
joke.
Yeah.
And they all
Hopefully-
walk to a bar.
Hopefully
keep it-
that's insinuated, Brad. But you really do got to clarify on today.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's probably good to clarify because you
Like,
never
somebody's
know.
gonna get hit with a battery, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, Steven."
Yeah,
like Steve was saying on
be-
Country Roads Webcast, he was bringing a whole
he's
pack of
telling
triple
fans-
A.
Prime
He was telling
suspect.
fans to do it.
I know
Brought
it's
in
him.
for questioning instantly.
We do not condone battery throwing.
Yeah, don't be out there throwing no batteries. Quite
However,
literally.
we
should
do
add that on here as a
we do
disclaimer.
condone your kid flipping Eli Holstein the bird.
Yeah,
I
that's
will
fine.
condone that.
That's fine. And if you smack Pat Narduzzi in the mouth, I'll pay you $20. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I would
Don't
be
do that
more
because then
happy.
you will catch a charge.
Yeah, I know. I'm
But
kidding.
have your
That's a joke.
kid do it, and it's funny and also not illegal.
I'm all for it. I'm all for it either way. Steven picks the W.
99-0.
As he
That's
should.
my score.
99
I'm sticking to it.
He's sticking to it. West Virginia 99-0. I'm going to be a very happy camper if that happens. You talk about a
Gonna have 'em.
happy mile in Puskar Stadium.
That ain't a
but we'll see.
prediction. That's what it's
We'll
gonna be.
My prediction: pain.
Pain.
Brad, what about you, brother? How you feeling about this one? Score prediction for the 108th Backyard Brawl coming up on Saturday in Motown.
Definitely not 99-0. But I agree. You won't ever catch me picking Pitt. Not happening. Not in my world. Not in my lifetime. Not in my universe. I think it's going to be a close one, though. I think it's 28-27, and I'll say it's on a 2-point conversion, not a point differential.
I like it. I like that. I like that a lot. Gentlemen, I don't know, man. Because here's the thing. You look at this game after last week, you hear our fans talking about it. Everyone's saying we don't have no chance. And that worries me. And our offensive line going up against, a stout Pitt front seven worries me. Going into this game with no Jaheim White worries me. Going into this game, not knowing the quarterback situation or if the offensive line is going to improve, it worries me. And I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I don't have a good feeling about it. And do I think we will win this game? Right now, sitting here on the day that we're recording this game, I don't have a good feeling about it. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I really don't. but I'm never going to pick Pitt either. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care. We could have Nico hurt, Jalen hurt, Scotty Fox hurt. We could have Jaheim hurt. We could have all 4 running backs hurt. We could be down to our 8th string receiver. We could have to pull a guy, the towel boy, onto the field to play, and I still ain't
I'll
going to
go
pick
play.
Pitt, man.
We
can have a worse offensive line than we have now. Our offensive line could average 190 pounds across the board, and I'm still not picking Pitt, bro. It's not going to happen. It's not in my blood. It's as we talked about here. Who knows? On paper, do we have the best chance? It doesn't look like it, but guess what? Games aren't played on paper, and we're playing in Morgantown, baby. The crowd's going to be a factor. Our team's going to show up ready to play, and you never know what's going to happen in a rivalry game. And I cannot stand Pat Narduzzi, and I'll never pick him to win, especially not against my guy Rich Rod. West Virginia finds a way, 21-20. Mountaineers
99-0.
Oh. Hey, I love
28-27.
Hey, I love it, boys. Hey, all that matters is we all pick the Mountaineers. No matter how bad we feel heading into this thing, we ain't ever picking Pitt. And that's all you got to know about us here at the CRW. We ain't ever picking the Panthers, man. The rivalry lives. We hate Pitt, and that's always going to be the case.
There's a lot of rivalries. There's only one brawl.
That's right. That's right. Well said. But that's pretty much what we got on the game. We're going to switch gears, and wrap up with our Around the Big 12 segment. But before we do, I did put out a call on social media. It was in short notice, just asking if we get any questions. We did get one response, though, in short notice. So shout out to the ghost of Mylan Puskar. He asks, what is your guess on how many snaps Jamori gets, if any? We touched on it a little bit, but as far as snap count's concerned, I think if he plays, you're looking at double digits, probably anywhere from 10 to 20 snaps, in my opinion. Anything you guys want to add there on that one?
Yeah.
I would probably say more like 10 to 15.
Is that the real ghost of Mylan Puskar?
Oh,
anyway,
that's a good question.
Yeah, I would go along the lines somewhere in the realm of 15. I would say around that number.
Yeah, it's a good way. Ease him into it.
You still got Eddie Kelly. You've got presence along.
You're just throwing him out there and just saying go.
Yeah, I was about to say, and in those 15 snaps, if he grabs about 3 sacks, we're in good shape.
I'd say, yeah.
But we hope we see him on Saturday. Whenever he does debut, he's certainly going to make an impact. Appreciate the question there, Ghost of Mylan Puskar. And if you are the real Ghost of Mylan Puskar, that's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool.
Equally as spooky, but yes.
I like you.
With that being said, gentlemen, let's talk about the rest of the conference here in week 3. Let's make some picks here. Run through this slate really quickly, and we'll wrap up episode 227, the Backyard Brawl preview and predictions. So we got a couple Friday games this week, and we have a conference game actually here. A couple of them actually. If I can count, there's 2 there. Colorado and Houston off 7:30 in Houston on ESPN Friday night. Who you like in this one, Steven?
I'm not going to beat around it. I like Colorado.
Okay. I see it. Funny enough, the Colorado making a change at quarterback in this game, going from Caden Salter, and everyone thought it would probably be the freshman coming in there, but it's not. It's the 3rd stringer, Ryan Staub. They're switching to start. Yeah,
I thought
to start
it was
this game. No,
they're going with. That's even more shocking because you'd think if they were switching to anybody,
they would switch to the
number 1 overall recruit in the nation last year.
Yeah, that one caught me off guard too, but I guess apparently he came in against Delaware and looked good at the end, so they're going to roll with him. But I think
then give me Houston.
Hey, and I'm right there with you, man. Making that quarterback change, I think it's a bad time to do it when you're heading to Houston. And Willie Fritz looks like he's really coached that defense up, so I'm going with the Cougars as well. Brad, what about you?
Give me the Cougs.
Cougs all around here. Friday night also, we have Kansas State and Arizona, 9:00 Eastern kick there on Fox. It's funny, about 2-3 weeks ago, I'd have thought this would be a Kansas State win, but Kansas State's about 40 seconds away and a late touchdown for being 0-3 on the season. They're 1-2. Arizona looks like they might actually be improved a little bit, so I'm going to go with the home team. I think the Arizona Wildcats beat the Kansas State Wildcats. That's my pick. What about you, Brad?
I'm feeling you there too. I think that home game, Arizona's been looking a little bit more crisp. K-State's struggling. I'm feeling the home game too. Give me Arizona.
I like it. Steven, where you at with this one?
I was going to go with Arizona because I think the Kansas State's going to be this year's Oklahoma State, but you guys went with Arizona, so give me K-State. They're going to get things turned around.
Hey, we got to have one that's different there in that one. I like that one. Really could go either way though, so I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. Which brings us to the Saturday slate. We have Samford at Baylor on noon, of course, on ESPN Plus. Baylor's defense has been suspect, but I think they'll be able to stop Samford. They're coming off a big come from behind win over SMU. Probably got some good momentum right now. Baylor rolls. Steven, who you got?
Yeah, I don't think there's any chance in this game. Baylor.
Baylor. Brad, what about you? 3 for 3 on Baylor?
Yep, 3 for 3 on the B.
3 for 3 on BU. We got the Bears pulling off the
Hey,
dub
that
there.
rhymes.
Hey, yeah, it does. It does, just like we planned it. Oregon State at Texas Tech, 3:30 Eastern on Fox. Texas Tech looks good. I'm not going to lie. We know they spent money on that roster. Seems to be paying off to this point. I think that will continue against Oregon State. Give me the Red Raiders. Brad, what about you?
Yeah, I'm taking Texas Tech all day, especially at home.
Yeah, for sure. Steven?
It's tough to go against the mighty Pac-12, but I got to go with the Red Raiders.
The mighty Pac-2.
the mighty Pac-2.
The mighty Pac-2 as it currently stands. We're all in on Texas Tech on that one. Northwestern State, Cincinnati, 3:30 ESPN Plus. I mean, is anybody picking Northwestern State?
I don't know. Nobody would have picked
I am.
Ohio or Missouri
I'm picking
State
them to
either,
lose.
but
He said picking them to lose. Yeah, Cincinnati for sure. Any objections?
not Bearcats.
Okay, Bearcats it is. Of course, we talked about the Backyard Brawl there in
Which would be
Morgantown.
the game of the week this week if it was.
It is the game of the week. I mean, I'm calling it the game of the week because I forgot to look on here and pick a game of the week. So we're just going to say that's the game of the week anyways.
Everybody else plays cupcake, so
Yeah, there's not the Friday night game.
Well, you could say
just
You could
one
say
Pacific.
Big
K-State,
12 games, but
K-State and Arizona, but
that's your game of the week, Brad. K-State,
no,
Arizona.
it's West Virginia Pitt. If it
It's
wasn't
Colorado,
us, I think
Houston.
Yeah, it'd have to be Colorado, Houston, or K-State, Arizona if it wasn't us. But we're going to say it's us. So we've already picked the game of the week. So, we've talked about
We
that.
didn't vote on it.
ESPN.
You guys
We don't
always
have to
do
vote.
this.
Even it's 99
This is not
nothing.
a democracy.
You've done made the prediction. You're like Raven Simone.
99 nothing. Ain't a guess. That's what's gonna be.
That's what it's going to be. All right, Iowa State hits the road to go play at Arkansas State. Hey, we're not the only team going to go play, group of 5 team on the road this year. Iowa State doing it too this week at 4:00 Eastern on ESPN2. They'll play Arkansas State. They're on the road, but I still think the Cyclones roll. Give me Rocco Becht, Matt Campbell and company in this one. Steven, what about you?
Yeah, Rocco Becht has looked absolutely phenomenal all season long this year. Matt Campbell's gotten pissed whenever they're up by like 50 points. Cyclones are scary this year. Give me Iowa State.
They're a definite contender here. Rocco's Modern Life. Iowa State, Arkansas State. Brad, who you got?
Yeah, they're not going to get West Virginia. I'm going to take Iowa State.
Yeah, Cyclones get it done. TCU, Abilene Christian, 8:00 Eastern, ESPN Plus. I mean, it's TCU, right?
Mm-hmm.
Has to be. Yeah.
Christian on Christian violence.
Yeah. Texas Christian takes out Abilene
Most
Christian.
holy game of all time.
The Holy War.
It's the actual holy war.
It's another holy war.
Yeah.
We're rolling with TCU in that one. Utah at Wyoming, 8:00 Eastern, CBS Sports Network. Boys, I hate to say it, but the Utes look good this season. Plus, their quarterback's the quarterback of my fantasy team. He's been putting up points. I'm a little bit worried that Utah's added an offense to go with their defense. They might be the real deal this year. If you can't tell by my waxing poetic there, I'm taking the Utes. Steven, who you got?
Yeah, they might look really good, but there ain't no way. I know. Give me the Cowboys. Look how good their logo looks. He's like bucking that Bronco. He's like in stride with the buck.
Josh Allen ain't walking through that door, man.
Listen, man. The ghost of Josh Allen lives in the facilities there, and they're playing at Wyoming. I mean, there's just so many fun things to do in Laramie, Wyoming that I've never heard of. But I'm sure that they exist and that people do them there, and that it's a great place to play college football. And I'm picking the Cowboys. Yeah, give me the Cowboys.
Another week of Steven picking against Utah. It's like clockwork. It's like clockwork for sure. Brad, what about you? You got Utah and Wyoming.
I'm gonna go with Utah.
Yep. And we've done it. And we've done it. We've officially pissed off Steven for the rest of the episode.
You pissed off all the BYU fans. You ain't got me to worry about. All the BYU fans have been loyal to our podcast.
Yeah, that's true. We are a pro BYU podcast. Always got to keep that in mind. Which brings us to the last game of the slate here in week 3. Texas State at Arizona State, 10:30 Eastern kick there in Tempe on TNT and on HBO Max. Arizona State choked it up at the last second there against Mississippi State, unfortunately, should have won that
Shout out to
game.
me. Shout out to me because I'm
Yeah.
awesome and I called it. And
You called
everybody
that
said that I
one.
was crazy
Called that one.
for calling that one. Crew said, "Oh wow, what an upset call, Steve. Okay, all right. Steve's big Mississippi State. All right, let's advance to the next segment here." And then guess what happened? Guess what happened?
I know.
Anybody want to take a guess? Anybody want to take a guess?
Last second tutty for the win for Mississippi State.
Mississippi. I'm telling you, 99-0
Just-
West Virginia. I can see the future.
Just rub it in, Stephen. Just rub it in. But I'm telling you, I'm gonna tell you this week, Arizona State's gonna win. That's what I'm telling you this week. Any objections?
I
No?
got another objection. I'll tell you
Oh,
one other
God. Here
thing.
he
I
comes.
mentioned
Here he
Mike Gundy's
comes.
nipples last week, and this guy goes out and loses by 60 points at Oregon. I'll tell you one thing.
Hey, Mike
He
Gundy's
might need to
gonna
go
be-
out and get his nipples
I was about
pierced.
to say
Maybe,
Mike Gundy's gonna need to show his nipples on OnlyFans pretty soon because he ain't gonna have a
Have to-
job.
maybe do that just to get some recruits.
Seriously.
I don't know what you got to do to
Something.
get them nowadays. That might be something. Add some spice in there to get your locker room going. I don't know. You're gonna have to do something, man, because whatever's going on out there in Stillwater, it ain't working. And I'm embarrassed about it for one, because I picked them to win the conference last year.
Well, I'm embarrassed at it because I'm a man. I'm 40.
I mean, almost. Cruz is getting
I'm
pretty old.
pretty
you guys.
close. I'm pretty
Cruz is
close to
like-
40. I can almost use that speech realistically now. It's gonna be fun. When I'm 40, I'm probably gonna say that speech about once a week.
Yeah.
It's only right though. So Mike Gundy's always given us gold at least. So I mean, if this is his last season, we have a lot of good memories of.
This is
Mr.
when you make
Gundy.
all the money because all the people that won't bet on him.
True.
Yeah.
This is when you
I
come
don't
in,
know,
come
man.
up on Gundy.
I've
right
seen their
there.
team play, and
It's bad.
It
It's
ain't
hey, we're not the worst team in the conference at all. I can tell you
No.
that much right now.
No.
I can tell you that much right now. Just judging by last week. So
I think Mike Gundy spent too much time out on the lake getting drunk.
it's possible.
I think that's
It's
what
very possible. It's very possible, gentlemen. But all right, boys. I guess that'll pretty much get ready to do it here for our Backyard Brawl preview and predictions here. Episode 227 of the CRW podcast. We've broke down the matchups, made our key to victory and score predictions, and talked a little bit of Big 12 stuff there. Appreciate you guys that have tuned into this one, whether you watch on YouTube or listen on any podcast platform there. Any platform you listen to on, leave us a rating. That helps out on that side of things. Those of you that are here on YouTube, be sure to just take a second, take your thumb, take your mouse, whatever you're using there, hit that little thumbs up button. Just help us out with that crazy YouTube algorithm. Helps us find more Mountaineer fans like yourself. And if you're one of those that hasn't yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button, get these videos directly into your feed. And shout out to our friends over there at WVSportsNow.com for hosting our episodes on their website as well. With that being said, gentlemen, any final thoughts here before we close up shop and get prepared for the 108th Backyard Brawl on Saturday? You got anything, Stephen?
Yeah, I'm just really excited, really amped up. Like I said, need to win this game. And I just want to say for any of those Pitt fans that are inevitably going to watch this episode and comment whenever they take
Always.
a break from eating that bowl of shit, I just need you to know we appreciate all your comments.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
guys.
the view.
Thanks for the views and comments and all of that. We appreciate it.
Yeah,
We
with that
do.
being said, it's always eat shit Pitt. And you can get your feelings hurt, and your coach can get their feelings hurt, your quarterback can get their feelings hurt, and whoever was waiting outside the locker room to wait on Beanie Bishop that day,
They can do.
you know what to do. You can eat shit.
Sweet Caroline. Hey, can't wait. Hey, it's gonna be loud. It's gonna be loud at Mountaineer Field when they play it after the third quarter. Hope those Pitt fans are ready if you're making your way to the game, which I think
Oh,
about
they're not.
six
They're not
of them
coming.
are.
Remember, you heard
I
they
know
they
it's gonna
didn't
be
sell
about
their allotment of tickets.
it's gonna be about 59,900 West Virginia fans and about maybe 100 Pitt
What's
fans.
funnier is that the ones that are going to be there are going to be the ones that severely overpaid for their tickets
Yeah, that's true.
because they didn't get them through the
For the
direct source.
university. They got through the third party after the fact. Well, they're
Oh,
dumb. They don't
that's-
understand how it works.
That's how often they don't go to games. They don't know how this shit works. Yeah, they
Oh, man.
got apparently
You
the
can't
most
make it
elite
up.
squad
It's-
in school
you can't make it
history.
up.
If you listen to them talk, and they can't even feel. There's like a fan, 5 seats, another fan.
They're still practicing those COVID protocols there at Acrisure Stadium, I
And
guess.
they're safe.
Mhm.
I'll tell you what.
They're
They
keeping
are
a safer
safe.
distance there.
Yeah.
Brad, what about you, bro? Any final thoughts? Yeah, that's right.
Brad, stop eating.
Chow it down.
Brad, stop eating.
Serving it up to them all week.
I don't know about y'all, but man, this episode's an all-timer if you ask me. All-timer.
I'll tell you what, we win Saturday, and it's going in the archives.
That's right. It should, as it should.
Yeah.
Rich
Sorry-
Rod pulls this
Sorry
one
for all my
off.
language tonight, guys.
Hey,
I just,
It's the way it goes. It's Backyard
Steven,
Brawl
put
week.
an
It's hate week, man.
NSFW warning on this one, please.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I will. I will throw it up there. Adult content warning. Steven, explicit.
Well, I didn't wait. Hold it. Whoa.
He did a full spread. It's Mike Honcho.
All I did was say a few words.
I mean-
Okay, sure. Listen, that couch. I mean, I sit in this chair 98% of the time. That couch don't get used. All right, I put my book bags and stuff on it. Don't y'all be getting no ideas. I only do this show. I don't do any other content. All right, once. All right.
That was once, and that was in Tijuana.
Was 3 times.
All right, it was like a whole year.
Just wanted you to know
boys.
that.
All right, we're off the rails.
Spread my butt cheeks is Mike Honcho
It's Mike Honcho.
for a magazine.
Mike Honcho. Dude, that should be your name next time on next episode. Instead of Steven, you should just put Mike Honcho right there as your name tag and see if anybody picks up on it.
I might do it.
That's how you know who watched to the end of the
That's
episode.
right. That's right. That's how you know who gets the callbacks to the last episode. We're gonna quiz you guys. Pop quiz next
Yep.
week. Be ready for it. Be ready
Appreciate
for
you,
it.
Tim Green.
Review episode. That's right. You know the
Appreciate
loyal
you,
ones
Tim
will
Green,
pick up on it. Yeah. Tim, Drum Wolf, you guys will
Drum Wolf.
know what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Edwards.
Yeah, all you guys know.
Anyway.
All right, boys, let's put this thing back on the rails and
Hope.
wrap it up here because you know us, we always run this thing off the rails on occasion, but that's what makes this fun. That's when we have a good time, is when we just start talking about whatever. But what we're hoping to see on Saturday is a West Virginia win. We want to see the Mountaineers leave that game at 2-1, and most importantly, man, if you got tickets, get up there. Let's make this thing raucous. Let's make this thing crazy. No batteries necessary. We'll be loud enough on our own without anything being hurled, as much as that probably pisses Pat Narduzzi off that he's wrong. But, it is what it is. We got something for him coming with our loud, raucous environment on Saturday. And hopefully you guys are there and ready to be a part of it. And hopefully the team's ready to put on a great performance in the 108th Backyard Brawl. We're ready for it. Mountaineer Nation's ready for it. Let's hope the team shows up and shows out on Saturday. And let's hope for a good one in the Backyard Brawl. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. We appreciate those interactions. And that'll do it for episode 227 of the CRW podcast. For my co-host Steven and Brad, as always, I'm Jordan Cruz. And until next time, let's go Mountaineers.
If you really want to know, then come on, let's go. Take a stroll down those